Welcome to the Straight Up Podcast, where entertainment meets opportunity.
Well, Brett, how you going, mate?
Good, Mick. How are you?
You know, Moody on the mic,
Yep.
Mick Malone on the mic.
How good's that? Won't be hard. You haven't got much to beat.
Bit of ring to it.
Yeah.
How you doing, bud? Good?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Big week
Yeah, been a pretty big week.
leading in. It's exciting, I guess. So much going on. 2 runners.
Yeah, very exciting to have 2 runners in the Kosciuszko
Yeah.
at this point in time.
I'll just introduce myself. So I am Mick Malone, manager of Kitchwin Hills Stud, and we're up at the guest house at the stables up on the farm, and we're just having a bit of a yarn to Brett Cavanough here, who just happens to be my neighbour in Sydney. Got to have a fridge full of VB long necks to keep him happy, which we don't have any here tonight. What's that about?
I thought it was Moody on the mic, mate. You only got 4X. So.
It's a good beer.
Yeah, look, I'd probably just touching on the Kosciuszko, probably a scoop for everyone in the room. On the way up here, we've been in contact with Mark Van Gestrel, who's our senior steward in Sydney, and our local vet, Amy Williamson, and a couple others. We've got issues. We've got a very, very hot foot. We've x-rayed it. No damage internally on the foot, but we have something going on. Could it be a stone bruise? Could it be an abscess? But I can tell you that it's been a pretty stressful 2 or 3 days, because abscess pops out, away you go. Stone bruise can just linger on for a couple of weeks. So we've notified Scott Kennedy and everything. Look, the Kosciuszko is pretty important, because it's just not me and the owners. It's the slot holders and Racing New South Wales, and obviously James McDonald. He's short of a quid. He needs to win a Kosciuszko. I just rang him and said, look, we're in trouble. He said, don't worry, mate. Animo with 3 out of 5 lane once. So. But look, on a serious note, yeah, we're in the woods with her. She'll be inspected by stewards tomorrow, I guess. And Greg Bennett went through this with his horse quite some time ago, and he ended up going on to win a Kosciuszko. So
We all know with horses, there's just so much can go right and wrong, and it's a bit of a cruel game sometimes, isn't it?
yeah, it is a cruel game. Nearly every day is a cruel game when you get beat. But, yeah, look, there's a lot of highlights in the caper, and they certainly outweigh the bad times.
And 2 horses, obviously, in the race, both coming together well. What's the sort of track that you would like? Does one need it drier than the other? It looks like it's going to be wet no matter what, but is there a track that you'd prefer for either horse?
She's won on the good, and she's won on a soft 7. It's me. And Fender's pretty adaptable. His form reads really well on affected ground.
Yep.
And he's so honest. So, no, look, ground probably doesn't affect either of my horses. Obviously, you like a fair service, and a 6 or a 7 would be ideal. But just watching the weather, and, Randwick's had an absolute flogging from the autumn right through the winter.
Yep.
I'd hate to be the curator there. He'd have a few headaches. Yeah,
right. Just a little rundown on the Kosciuszko. How do you end up in the Kosciuszko for punters out there that don't sort of understand how it all works? And who won your horses? Who got them?
So pretty much you like all the punters clubs these days. Like you go on a footy trip or you go on something, then at the end of the day you got $5 or 5,000. There's always a bunch of mug punters, like we all are. I'm a punter. I'm a mug. We got 200 left, Mick. What are we going to do? Throw it at the Kosciuszko. We get a ticket. We're a chance of winning $500,000. We get half a share in a Kosciuszko horse. So a bunch of tradie guys from Phil Warby and a bunch of his mates from Grafton.
Yep.
They done the rounds. Benny Looker, the jockey, who's rode Fender in 2 Ramonis for 2/3. They rang him for some advice. Obviously Priscilla, his wife, would have had a bit to do with it. Casey Stanley, an ex-jockey, or is the jockey Case, female jockey, rides work. She's connected to those guys. And, they just went with Fender. His form from a Kosciuszko point of view, he had 1 run, missed the next year. He's back in this year. But his form, he went Ramornie 3rd and was solid in goal market 4th, in really strong sprint races. So that's why that's why they went to him.
Yeah, right. No, that's good. And it's obviously a massive week for you, I would think. Like, I'd be nervous as all get out. Or is it just, how do you see the race? Like, is it the pinnacle for you in a lot of ways, this sort of race? The way it's been teamed up for country racing, it's a big event.
Oh, it's $2 million, mate. It's nothing, It's nothing. You ask Whitby and Werrett, they tell you 2 million's nothing, mate.
Well, you
If
got
they
that
were
under your
here, you'd
bed.
have
You got
Brett.
that under your bed, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. I have since I moved to Scone. Look, it's the build up to every race is good, black type or whatever. But from a country point of view, the Kosciuszko is pretty special to the punters. The guys that buy a ticket and miss out is incredible. You know, some of these syndicates tip $30,000 and $40,000 in for tickets.
Yeah, amazing.
And then you get a guy buys one ticket and he wins a slot. You know, so it's a bit like bingo. All you got to do is be in it to win it.
The Kitchwin brand obviously plays a big role, big help, eh? It's got to help.
Yeah, I see it on the side of your truck, you know, a bit of free advertising. Absolutely. Kitchwin's been great to me over the years. We've had a few good horses out of here. We had another Sin we thought was a superstar, and we went back to buy his brother and wasn't sure what was going on, and that turned out to be a pretty smart horse. So.
Ironically, won an Everest, another sort of one of these races. So.
Yeah, correct, you know. So I think just the whole country environment, you know, you have your nucleus of city owners and city trainers, and they race and they're a pool, and you know, they have a party every Saturday. At the races, you see them dressed up in suits, and it's for them. But it's pretty special for country people to go to the races with a highway runner. You know, every week now. I'd like to know the figures on what country people spend on accommodation and restaurants, and on the punt in Sydney every Saturday when a highway's on. You know, so it just drags people. I got people that win a race with a horse at nowhere, you know, it wins a maiden highway. What about we go to a highway?
Yeah.
And you just shiver and you know you're going to get beat 10 lengths. But the fact that they can ring their friends, we're going to Rose Hill Saturday.
Yeah.
They get dressed up. So the family of 5, where they go? They go shop and get dressed up for the races.
And how tough are they to win those races? Like, you know, it's hard to win a race anywhere, but like, is it like, I don't know, is it getting to the point now it's like going to a midweek? How do you rate those races?
I'm not sure how to equal it with a metropolitan race like a midweek.
Yeah.
But certainly they're your best horses in country New South Wales.
Go ahead that way.
You know.
Yep.
Obviously, you have a bowl. Sometimes you have a throw at the stumps because you've got a big family and you're going to have some fun. And my horse is in a highway, and you can go and have a bit of fun. And now you're racing for 50,000. So,
yeah.
But just you know, who wants? Try and get a ticket to the Everest this week. You won't get one, but if you've got a runner, you'll get one. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, if you don't want to be at the big party where you got something wrong with you.
No, that's right. And it seems there's a few little worrying moments in the stable for you going forward, but yeah, that's racing, as they say.
Yeah, well,
sadly.
it all happened tonight between Scone and Kitchwin. You know, we had to make the right calls, and I had to make a call tonight. You know, obviously Peter Morley, who's the boss of Grand Syndications, he's the one that crunches the figures, the numbers, and me when it comes to time. But you know, and then obviously Van Gastrel, our senior steward, he has to be notified, and vets and whatever. So yeah, it's very transparent racing in New South Wales.
What a great mare she's been. I think she's won 187,000. I think she's won.
Geez, you done your maths right.
And quite amazingly, it hasn't got black type yet. Like
187,000.
877,000.
You're getting better.
I think it's something like that. Is it 877?
Yeah. You know what? This show's about being pretty real, but you've got to be a bit loose too. We're pretty casual, but I don't pot jockeys, but I watched Kieran Ryder in that group race, and he rang me on the way home, and I'd had a few beers, and he said, "Hello, Brett, it's Kieran." I said, "How are you?" He said, "Sorry, mate." I said, "No worries, Kieran, talk to you later." So he knew he should have finished closer.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't bag jockeys, mate. Their life's in their hands. It's a click of the fingers, and they can be on the ground, or they can win a race, or they can get beat.
Yeah.
So just
and
move
she
on.
just looks like a mare. It's black type's just a certainty for me. At some point, it will pop up. You know, she's always thereabouts. I know she ran 4th in that race, but yeah, look, it's
Well, up until today, you know, Kosciuszko was there for the taking, and I've been very confident and bullish, and had a few text messages with the super jock. But you know, we nominated today for the big races in Western Australia.
Yeah, okay.
So, we've got to get our foot right. Is it going to be right by Saturday? I'm not sure, but hopefully it'll be right by Winterbottom Day in Perth. You know, we might end up there. We could end up in Melbourne, but firstly we've got to make sure she's right.
100%. Now, Fender, what's the thoughts, mate?
Fender, isn't he a great horse?
If It's Me was fit and ready to rock, where would you rate the two?
The year she won at Kosciuszko, I was bullish about him that he wouldn't finish far behind her. And we rode him up on top of the speed. We probably rode him a bit close. He's a horse that I probably haven't got my head around properly ever, because he's just so laid back, you know. He just does what you ask, and he works with her and does her work, and she clicks up and goes on, you know. And I'm not sure whether he puts a blinker on and goes to the pub and goes, I've had enough, you know.
Yeah, right.
But he's never been beaten very far in black type races. He's just a great horse to train. He's easy, but just to show you how adaptable he is, I started him off. I had to get him rolling this preparation. We started him in a group race at Newcastle, and we had the big dance in our mind, because his mother had won over a mile and a quarter. Anyway, we went to Tamworth Cup. You know, we bumped into some bloke, bought a horse to Tamworth called John Hawkes at Tamworth. Anyway,
Amazing.
So they won. We run third. We missed out. You have to run 1-2. We then we bounced into a Scone Cup and we run third. We missed out again. We went to town. I think we run fourth. Freshened him up. Went to the Ramornie, run third. Stakes race. Helps the family for the breeders. David and Ann, they breed, and their partners, they breed. So his stakes placed. So big dance again, put the blinker on. I went to Kosciuszko and the track was right off. Curator up there, he wants livening up a bit. Casey Arondakas, he's a mate of mine. But look, there was 2 or 3 tracks, you know. When they had the wet track, they had to work here, they had to race there, and it was just confusing, and we got it wrong. And then I freshened him up, went to the goal market at the Gold Coast.
Yep.
Jason rode him, Jay Collette, and he just said, I got a pair further back than I like. Horse went super. And he said, I'd like to ride him at a mile. So he's a sprinter miler, 1,200 to 1,600. That's his range, and that's what we're going to concentrate on now.
Beautiful. Obviously, you're extremely competitive, mate, so it's a harder question. But if you weren't to win, is there a trainer out there or a horse out there that you'd love to see win for somebody? As a competitive bloke, I guess that's a bit of a tough question because you want to win, but it's such an amazing race. There's so many friends and people that you run into in this game. There's, you know, I just wondered if there was someone there that you sort of thought.
I done an interview for Run to the Summit the other night with Gavin Carmody, and he asked the same question. I think Graham White might ask the question, and I said, Paul Massaro had a filly called Shellstar. She's 4 straight. She's going to Melbourne this weekend for a stakes race.
Yep.
And Opal Ridge, a filly of Luke Pepper, another trainer who's just come to Scone.
Yeah.
I nominated them too. I said the punters missed them. They're the 2 horses that really, really worried me in an Everest. The rest of them, you know, Keith Dryden's horse is a really tough old horse. He's getting a bit of age on him.
Yeah.
Doesn't worry Nature Strip, probably doesn't worry Keith's horse. Front Page, he's been going to come a couple of times. Stuff can go wrong with him. He's
Mate, it's just like I'm just excited for you. I went to your. I'm not good with numbers. I think it was your 70th birthday, was it?
Yeah, that was 10. That's in 10 years' time. You'll be going to that one.
I went to your 60th birthday with your family, who we all get on so well. You got a great support team. They must be so excited as well. I got to say, I was blown away with the stories, and you talk a lot of shit. So sometimes I'm not real sure what's right and wrong, and I'm sure I'm not the only bloke to say that about Brett Cavanough. But I was extremely proud to be a part of your birthday party, seeing Big Moods get up there and Thierry talking about the history and all that's gone on in both your lives over the many years you've been mates. And there's so many other well wishes that I'm just so hoping that you can win it, mate, because you deserve it. And, you know, looking forward to the weekend. I can't wait.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good. What about from a Kitchwin point of view, mate? What runners have you got? What's going to be the highlight of Kitchwin Farm?
Well, both It's Me and Commando Hunt are in that race, so it's exciting for us. And obviously we've already won it with your horse and It's Me. But yeah, no, look, every weekend's a tough weekend when you breed horses, isn't it? You sit there and watch them go around, and there's usually ups and downs. But we've been lucky enough to have some very nice horses come off the farm, and we just hope we can get, you know, another Kosciuszko would be terrific. Whether you or Cameron train it, not too fussed.
It's interesting, you know, the industry and the highs, you know, obviously leading up to Kosciuszko, all the fanfare and the interviews and whatever. And I've been there, you know, a couple of times and been a part of it. And then, you know, today's is a real reality check of what the thoroughbred industry is around and about.
Yep.
Obviously, It's Me's got an issue. She's got a foot issue. And I had a maiden mare foal down today at a really good farm at Beamer. I went there because he's a real good follower, and I want him to support me, like you do, Mick.
Yep.
And we had a foal which is fighting for its life. So, you know, it's the highs and lows of this industry is just incredible, and only the tough people hang in there.
So true. Like, I know it all too well. Obviously, we're, like many breeders, are in the midst of foaling. We're about, I don't know, 65% through our foals, and you know, every night you go to bed just waiting for that terrible call, because, and it's really hard to explain to people that don't live and breathe like we do. Like, you turn up at the stable every morning and the horse walks out, it was perfect, it's me, yesterday.
Yep.
Today it's lame. You know, you can have 50 foals in a row, everything just absolutely perfect, and tonight, massive problem. And it's not just that, yearlings go wrong in the paddock, mares don't go in foal. It's a game that's so full of more downs than ups.
And then a bloke like Greg Radley, you know, on Saturday he'll get to interview 10 of the happiest jockeys, trainers and owners in the world when they all win, you know.
Yeah, and so, all other buggers.
And we all look at that and we go, geez, I want to be like that. And
yeah.
then the next day we're trying to buy one or sell one or get involved in it. But it's a massive industry, and I love every part of it. But you know what? You got to be tough if you're going to hang around the racing industry.
It's funny, the heartache doesn't last that long, does it? Like, after, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's the worst thing could ever happen. What a fucking disaster. What I'm going to do. But it's amazing. You watch the next race, and you just, it's just a game where you got to get over it. If you don't get over it, well, you know.
I can remember going to Binnaway with one that you bred by Dewporth, and we won a little Binnaway Cup. You know, Jack and I coming home from the races and just had the best time ever.
Yeah.
Because you're on the highs, and next week you might take, you know, 3 favourites to Port Macquarie, and they all get rolled.
Yeah.
You know, and you're half depressed and you're sad, but the first bottle shop just changes all that, and the next minute you've got Slim Dusty and Charlie Pride and everyone in your life. So
and family do it with you.
Yeah, of course you have, you know. So, you know, it's life rolls on, and so's the racing industry.
Yeah, it is. It's about the people, and it's about the enjoyment and all the lead in, and that's why this week's so special for you and your family. You got to enjoy it, because it's over in a heartbeat, and reality can be pretty harsh in our game.
Yeah, it can be, you know. I think probably for me the focus, I think we got runners Friday at Taree, Saturday in Brisbane's, obviously Kosciuszko Saturday, Sunday I think it's Lismore, you know, Monday's Muswellbrook, Tuesday's Grafton, so
just another.
It just rolls on, and if you wouldn't do all that if you didn't love it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good, especially in New South Wales. You know, there's a fair bit to be said for our CEO, PVL. He's done a great job. Love him or hate him, the front of the grandstand, mate, is a great spectacle, you know, and a lot of prize money, and it's a big business.
Well, that'll be front and centre this weekend, won't it, at Randwick? Like, all that he's done and all that he's driven, and it's just amazing. Like, I'm going down. I'm really looking forward to it. And like, I know Max Whitby, he won a slot, and he's got his own horse running in it. So yeah, it's so much to do with the people, this game, you know, and it's hard to fathom, you know, where it takes you.
I think what they've done in Racing New South Wales, they're starting to copy everywhere. I got a phone call today from Western Australia. They're going with a slot race over there. So, you know, Rockhampton's got a slot race. I see the trots now, Singleton's involved.
Toowoomba's got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, King of the Ranges. I went to a bit of a lunch on Friday, and they've got a slot up there, a race up there now for cutest horse only.
Yeah,
so everyone's sort of followed on from Volandis and what he's put together. It's been pretty amazing.
And all it's doing is putting money back in the owner's pocket, the breeder's pocket. It's just making sure that the industry's fuel to produce racehorses, and that's what it is. It's just a big cycle: breed them, buy them, race them, win some money, and go again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Brett, just in closing, say you do win, party Turinville Road or staying in Sydney?
Turinville Road does pretty good most nights of the week, you know, so we never go thirsty down there. We know a lady with a bottle shop, so we're pretty good there, but...
it's a bit disappointing you do know a lady with a bottle shop, but you didn't bring any VBs up here, mate. You're drinking Corona, for crying out loud.
Oh, well. Mate, good luck on the weekend with all your Kitchwin runners.
Thank you, mate.
And I hope I can get It's Me there and do you proud.
Mate, totally. Same to you, mate. We're very behind you, and I can imagine there'll be many well wishes from all over Australia, especially up around Wyandra and Cameron and all the boys we know from Charleville. They'll be cheering.
Cheers, mate.
On you, bud.